Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video, and to another episode of My Thoughts, the series where I give my thoughts on the latest Cars news. I hope you guys have been doing well. I am so excited to be back from Guest Host Week. I want to start off this video by giving a huge shout out to everyone who participated this year. It was so much fun to see what you guys put together. But Guest Host Week ended just in time, funnily enough, because yesterday, the 2026 Cars Diecast checklist poster was announced, and as I do every year, I'm going to do a video just casually breaking down my thoughts. I haven't looked like super long at this poster just yet, and honestly, with the exception of rumors of new releases, I haven't really been following what's been coming out this year all that much, so it's going to be fun to take a look at this with you guys, talk about the new stuff, talk about the old stuff coming back, and talking about the year in general. Of course, the Cars Diecast line isn't a place that a lot of us are a bit disappointed with right now. Over the past few years, we've had a lot of changes made that have just been, things a lot of us don't really want to see, right? We have the removal of the Deluxe line. They got rid of Deluxes a couple years ago. We're in this weird point where we're only getting like one new movie release each year. For the past couple of years, they've really heavily focused on these expanded universe lines in the main line with Race and Rescue, and it's been pretty disappointing. We've also been in this weird spot where it seems like we're getting less and less cars every year. Now 2026 unfortunately doesn't fix any of those problems. We have 10 less cars than we had in 2025 with 102 instead of 112, which is about 10 less cars than we had the year before. We still have this very heavy focus on expanded universe items. We still have very few new releases from the movies. But there are a lot of things that 2026 does right. There are a lot of things that I'm very happy to see here, honestly. And one of the most prominent things I'm happy to see is, of course, the heavy focus on the 20th anniversary of Cars. Going into 2026, the most important thing for me was that the Cars Diecast line celebrated the milestone 20th anniversary of Cars, the Cars franchise, the Cars Diecast line as a whole, and I'm so happy to see that, as we've seen with rumors and leaks and reveals over the last few months, they're going all in. Nearly every new item we have this year is 20th anniversary themed, and we have several different 20th anniversary lines that will be coming out. Not all of them are part of the main line. A lot of them are in 5-packs. We have the light-up anniversary cars that are coming out, of course. But this year, nearly everything we're getting that's new is themed to the anniversary. So while we're in this era of way too much focus on expanded universe lines, 2026 is the one year where I could kind of give it a pass, because this year, the focus should be on celebrating the anniversary of Cars, and whenever it's an anniversary, we get a special sort of expanded universe line. So, I'm going to start off by saying I think 2026 is probably a better year than 2025. I think the focus on the anniversary cars, as you'll see in a bit, really is great. It's something I think a lot of people are going to like a lot more than Race and Rescue. And while, again, unfortunately, a lot of those issues aren't going to be fixed, you've got to remember, this is a toy line that's run for 20 years, and anything that lasts this long is going to have ups and downs, and we can only hope that things start to get better next year with the launch of the Lightning Racer series, which, regardless of what art style it ends up happening, will no doubt get a pretty big merchandise push. I just wanted to kind of go over my thoughts on the line in general, since they are pretty mixed right now, before I go into the items themselves. So, of course, every year isn't just made up of new releases. You also have your wide variety of re-releases as well, and I think 2026 is doing a pretty good job. As bad as a lot of 2025 was, I do stand by it having some of the best re-releases we've gotten in a very long time, and this year continues to have some pretty solid ones. So let's get started. Again, we've got 102 items to get through here. So, let's begin. I just want to start off by saying I absolutely love how this poster looks. I am so happy to see them use just classic promo art of McQueen and Mater here, and to acknowledge the anniversary of the line with the 20th anniversary logo. I'm happy to see they're harkening back to the first movie here. And when it comes to the movies, I think we have a pretty solid lineup this year. The last several years have been very, very Cars 1 dominant and have really not shown much love to the other Cars movies, and that's something that really bothers me. I've said this so many times over the years, but it always really bothers me when we don't get sort of equal representation from each of the Cars movies. And of course, this year, as per usual, Cars 1 is still dominant here, but we have a lot of items from Cars 2 and 3, which is just nice to see. Like, considering how few Cars 2 and Cars 3 items we've had over the last few years, it's a pretty good looking lineup for the movies. So, yeah. I gotta say, this poster feels so, like, doesn't it feel so small? I don't know why we're getting less and less items. You know, I'm sure there are multiple reasons. Honestly, I've considered doing a whole video on it. I'm sure it's something we'll get out of eventually, but, you know, there's been speculation that, seems that Disney and Mattel's relationship isn't what it used to be. I think there's a pretty high chance that just the economic situation and the whole tariff thing that's gone on in the U.S. over the last year might play a part in it, with a lot of companies having to scale back and making less. But altogether, considering the situation, considering what's going on, I think they still pulled together a pretty solid lineup for this year. So I'm going to zoom in. This poster, by the way, was found by my good friend Cars Likes Ninjago. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but if I did not, I'm very sorry. Always very important to give credit. Of course, this is the official poster, but I think he was the first one to post the poster. Reached out to Mattel and was sent a very high quality PDF of it. So whoever runs the account that got back to him, thanks for the super high quality image. Anyway, let's get started. Of course, we're starting off with just your classic Cars 1 McQueen. Very important to have him out this year, obviously. He is the main character, and as per usual, you know, just a lot of your classic Cars 1 characters. Mater, Flo, so nice to have regular Flo as a single back out. For the first time in several years, Flo has been kept to 2-packs for quite a while now, and last year we just got Flo with Trey, so really good to have her back. A lot of the items on the poster are already out, so a lot of it won't be new, but still, videos like this, I like to give my thoughts on the whole lineup. We've got Sarge. For those of you who don't know, I reviewed this all the way back in November, I believe it was, but the 2026 release of regular Sarge is actually a new expression variant. It reuses the expression from Pit Crew member Sarge instead of Sarge's usual face. Was that an error? Probably, but hey, it made a new expression variant nonetheless. So if you're looking for stuff like that, it's a Sarge you should make sure you pick up. Of course, all the cars this year, on the subject of small variants like that, are new country variants because production has moved back to China, but it's not like the old China cars. It's basically, they literally look almost identical to the Thailand releases, but some of these items do have some small changes. Up next, we have Marilyn here, Radiator Springs character that it's nice to see back. I think we last saw her in 2019. Sally, who this year is finally using her really great 2022 5-pack model. Of course, Sally has a much better model, the 2018 Sally, that they just don't use for whatever reason, and it's super annoying. But a couple years ago, they introduced a new updated Sally that uses the original body, but has updated details, and that's finally out as a single this year. So if you don't have 2018 Sally or the Welcome to Radiator Springs Sally, I'd recommend you pick up this updated Sally, because it's the best looking Sally that's actively available, and it's great to finally have it out of 5-pack Sheriff. And then we got some of your Piston Cup racers with Todd Marcus and Ralph Carlo. Now that they've completed the whole lineup of Cars 1 Piston Cup racers, now that they've all been re-released, I really don't care. It's always important to have them out, but I don't have much preference for which ones come out, since I'm no longer actively collecting them. If I have to make comments, it feels like Todd Marcus is always out, and but it's fine. He's one of the ones with more screen time. Ralph Carlo, I really have nothing to say. Rotor Turbowski here, pretty interesting. Now, Rotor Trubowski, there's been some discussion regarding him because he has two different variants. There's a smaller single version of Rotor Trubowski, that was the first version of him out, and then a couple years later they released a scaled up, larger, deluxe Rotor Trubowski. And with the deluxe line gone, I was wondering, and I'm sure many other people were, wondering what was going to happen with Rotor. Which Rotor would they be releasing? I assumed that they'd probably just cram the deluxe into a single card back, or perhaps they would just cram the old single, into a single card back. But to my utter surprise, the Rotor that's out this year is actually brand new. It's a brand new mold. It's a new in-between size mold, which is super interesting. So that does make this year's Rotor Trubowski a new movie release. This year actually has a couple new movie releases, which is great in an era where, again, we're typically only getting one. Unfortunately, most of these new movie releases, I'm doing air quotes right now, you can't see, are downscales of previous deluxes. Since the deluxe line is gone this year, they've fully folded, they've caved, and they've started downscaling larger characters, similar to what we saw with the Race and Rescue Red and Morgan Martins last year. Not the biggest fan of that, obviously. Ideally, we'd have the deluxes back, but getting these characters a bit smaller is, in my opinion, better than not getting them at all. And in the case of Rotor, I actually don't have the deluxe. I just have the old single, so this will be an upgrade for me. But yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting. I do believe he's hitting stores now. We move into the second row. I just got to say, I love the shaping here. I love that they did that classic sort of zigzag design on the side of the poster. And you even have your sort of classic Cars red sparkles they used to do. Very, very nice. Great graphic design here on the poster. We've got the King. We have Lizzie. Lizzie, of course, is typically a biannual release. While all the other Radiator Springs characters tend to come out annually, Lizzie comes out every other year, and this is actually the first time in a very long time that Lizzie has been out 2 years in a row. She was out last year in a 5-pack, and now this year she's out as a single, so very, very happy to see her. We have Hull Ingas next, not much to say there. Radiator Springs McQueen, good character to have back for the anniversary. Mike 07. One of the most insane re-releases in the history of this toy line. Yes, he's packed in with the Cars 1 items here, which is what they tend to do when they have like a super random item that doesn't fit anywhere else. They'll just go, it's from Cars. But Mike 07 is a character from the canceled Cars tune To Protect and Serve that was supposed to come out back in 2015-2016. And before it was canceled, merchandise already hit the shelves. And we got a 3-pack in the Diecast line of Mike, the other cop from the short Dee Dee, and of course the student driver McQueen. And this was one that was so hard to believe when the rumor came out. I told this story recently in my Flash Nielsen review, but in August I did a video reporting on several items set to release for 2026 from my sources, which are usually very reputable. And they included Mike 07, Metallic Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Flash Nielsen and Memo Rojas. And I got so many comments. Obviously, in the video I said it's a rumor, it might change, take it with a grain of salt. I got so many comments being like, there's no way, this has to be fake. And guys, it's crazy that names that out there and crazy are real, right? It's crazy that those rumors, those were some of the most far-fetched, crazy, sound fake rumors I've ever heard. And they were all true. Now they came from Walmart listings, which is, you know, where we typically hear from Cars rumors, and they're typically legit, of course, sometimes subject to change. But wow, right? That's one of the main reasons why I love this toy line. They will go back and bring back the most insane pull. Mike 07, the cop car from a canceled Cars tune, is out this year. And it's stuff like that that shows me, even when the line is in a place that I don't like, even when they're making decisions I don't like, they clearly still care. Wow. Unfortunately, Dee Dee isn't back. We could only hope for next year. I was really hoping she'd be here too, but wow. I do have the original multi-pack from To Protect and Serve. Maybe I'll pick up Mike. I always say that I want to see some more police cars in the Cars diecast line, so maybe I'll pick up Mike and like repaint it into a background police car. But yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy. And it's like this is an item that I think is perfect for an anniversary year. Guy from a canceled Cars tune. Great re-release choice. Chick Hicks, we have Transforming McQueen. Insert complaint number 4,600,975 about how they're not re-releasing Dinoco McQueen. Guys, bring back regular Dinoco McQueen. Okay, Transforming McQueen and Bling Bling McQueen are out this year. There's a color changer Dinoco McQueen out this year. It has now been like almost a decade since the last time we saw Dinoco McQueen out, and over a decade since the last time he was out in the main line. This is such a strange character to like awkwardly dance around, and it has to easily be the most requested item. Then we have Hydraulic Ramon, as in Red Ramon. This guy was just out in a 5-pack last year alongside 2022 Sally, and now he's this year's sort of Ramon update re-release. It's basically the version of him from the 5-pack, but I'm going to be real with you guys, and I think it's a little bit worse. That 5-pack Ramon is pretty solid. This one is basically identical to it, but he just has, you can't tell here because they're using the old promo art for him, the old prototype image. But this Ramon is supposed to be looking off to the side, and this year's version is just looking off to the side a lot less than he used to, even less than the Thailand version. But still, solid re-release and an item we haven't seen in a while. I probably won't pick it up. I love getting Ramones, I love getting the updated Ramones, but it's basically identical to the one from the 5-pack. We have Brad Windmiller. Not much to say. Isn't it Windmiller? Did they spell his name wrong? I don't think so. I don't know. Random car to bring back. Random Piston Cup fan. But he's one of those ones where I'm like, I feel like this is one of those background characters that's always out. Brad Windmiller came out in 2016. And this is like his 4th single release. Maybe we should give another Cars 1 fan a go. We've got Luigi and Guido here, and then we have Yellow Hydraulic Ramon. On the subject of items that I think are out way too often, this is the weirdest thing to keep bringing back, and we're still missing an updated regular Yellow Ramon. Super, super weird. We've got Dexter Hoover with Checkered Flag, another item that's like always out, and Marlon Clutches McKay. Another item that's like always out. These must be really hot sellers because we are always seeing them. But yeah, Cars 1, I think it's a pretty solid lineup. It's a good mix. You have a lot of different types of cars. Of course, Cars 1 is always going to get the bulk of the regular main cast that has to be out every year. But we've got, a couple of Piston Cup racers, a couple of character variants, and the absolute insanity of Mike 07. Happy to see Chicken the King back. Happy to see Rotor here. Not too much to say. I will say, I would have loved to have seen the full lineup of Radiator Springs cars here for the anniversary year, but something the Diecast line has been doing recently is not including the regular version of the car if there's another variant. There's an anniversary version of Fillmore. You may have noticed, right? Fillmore's missing. There's an anniversary Fillmore later on the list. There's no Doc this year. There's an anniversary Doc coming out. So, I think that's fine. We do have most of them. So, yeah. Now we're going to move on to Cars 2, where I'm happy to see a pretty sizable Cars 2 roster. And, of course, the big thing for Cars 2 this year is the fact that the World Grand Prix racers are back in the main line. As I was just saying, something they're doing recently is not including regular variants when other versions of them are out. Obviously, this isn't always the case, but it's something we've seen pretty often here. And with the GRC out for the last 2 years, they haven't given us any of the regular World Grand Prix variants. They were only out in 5-packs, which was a really smart choice, I think. And I really love how 5-packs of late have been treated as expansions of the regular diecast line instead of a separate thing like it seems they so often are. So, we didn't have World Grand Prix racers in the main line because of GRC. Well, you get them in 5-packs. And now we've got a couple back in the main line, which is just really nice to see. I do think, while it's strange to have, like, Fillmore missing, I think it's a really good choice to just have, okay, we have this new variant of them. We don't need the regular one out. I don't think that's a bad idea, and I think it opens up slots for other characters. But Cars 2 McQueen is back, who was not out last year in the main line. He was out in a 5-pack, but for the first time ever, right? For the first time since he came out, he wasn't in the main line last year. He's back. As per usual, they use this promo image. That's his launcher variant with the open mouth. I wish that would be the one they released. Not the case. Finn McMissile, and I'm just going to skip to Holly down here. I am so happy that we are back to Finn and Holly being frequent common releases. Regardless of your thoughts on Cars 2, they are two of the most significant characters of the movie, so they should be there. We got Francesco and Carla Veloso back. Weird to have a Cars Diecast line without a regular Francesco in it for a couple of years, since, again, one of the most prominent characters in Cars 2, and just one of the most popular, beloved characters, period. Francesco, it's going to be a good year for him, considering it recently leaked that we're getting a Cars and Formula 1 collab that it seems he's going to be at the forefront of. I reported on that in a previous video. We've got Carla, good to have her back. We've got Holly. We have Mater with Balloon, who is, I'm pretty torn on this one, honestly. There are so many Mater variants from Cars 2 you could have done, and they brought back Mater with Balloon. This is only his third release ever, but his last release was in 2022. It was pretty recent, and Mater is the main character of Cars 2. And I'm just looking through my collection. Yes, a lot of Cars 2 Maters are pretty big, but there are a lot of them that they easily could have done here instead of this one that was just out. I say this every year, but one of my biggest problems with the Diecast line right now is how often it seems that we're getting re-releases of characters that we just saw. But hey, maybe Mater with Balloon was a super big seller last time, so they decided to bring him back. I also think it's funny because Mater's balloon famously has a Splash Mountain reference on it. And since the last time this Mater was released, Splash Mountain has since closed and been replaced with the Princess and the Frog ride, Tiana's Bayou Adventure at Disney. So I think that's pretty funny. Mater is now holding a reference to a defunct Disney ride. Defunct Land, if you ever cover Splash Mountain, don't forget to mention Kersploosh Mountain. And yes, I know it still exists in Tokyo. Then we have, of course, the two biggest re-releases this year. We got Memo Rojas Jr. and Flash Nielsen. Of course, the concept of re-releasing Super Chases is controversial. I'm not going to get into it again. I went over my full thoughts on it when I reviewed Flash Nielsen a few weeks ago. Since they're not doing Super Chases anymore, I'm okay with this so long as they don't overdo it. These were some of the first Super Chases, so I think it's fine. It's been well over a decade now. I'm happy to see them back, and it's super cool to do that, and it allows new generations of collectors and kids and people that missed them out the first time to get these characters that were previously locked away. I'm all for doing special limited edition items, but I think it's okay when it's been 14 years, oh my gosh, I hate the passage of time, to do this. Again, so long as they don't overdo it. Like, if next year they re-release all of the rest of these, I'll be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't. But just having these two, I'm perfectly okay with. Flash looks amazing, one of the best items out this year that I've gotten so far. Memo Rojas, I can't wait to get. I believe he has just recently been re-released alongside Rotor. Mel Dorado is currently my mortal enemy in the Cars Diecast line. I'm happy to see him back, but back in 2022, was it 2022? Yeah. He got a re-release, which is one of the worst looking items in the entire toy line. Don't let the promo image fool you. Unfortunately, this year, they did not revert him back to one based on the original. He's still that weird, like, neon, non-shiny, really bad-looking version of himself. One of the biggest downgrades in the history of the Cars Diecast line. And it's crazy. It's honestly crazy how bad the current Mel Dorado looks. Up next, we got my boy Nigel Gearsley. I'm very happy to see Nigel here. With the World Grand Prix racers back, very important to get him back. It's been a long time, okay? I want to say maybe like 2019 or 2020. In 2020, they did Nigel with Flames. It's been a long time since we've seen Nigel Gearsley in the Diecast line, so it's really great to have him back. He was one of the racers not featured in the GRC. And with World Grand Prix racers back this year, I wish they focused on re-releasing the ones that weren't in the GRC, because there have been no versions of them out on store shelves for years. We have Nigel, we have Jeff Gorvette in the 2-packs. Would have been so nice to get Lewis and Rip. Maybe we'll get a new version of Lewis in the F1 line, considering Lewis Hamilton is in F1 in real life. But the lack of Rip is really awkward. I know he's the least prominent of the World Grand Prix racers, but he has not been out for 6 years. So he really needs to come back. Race Team Fillmore with headset. This item being back really caught me by surprise. I did not realize he was back. And it's a really random one. But, like I said, variant of Fillmore in the line, so they didn't do normal Fillmore. And Fillmore also has an anniversary item. So, I'm happy to see that. We have a Fillmore here. But what a weird one, right? This is another big issue I have with the line right now. I'm happy they got rid of the series system a couple years ago, as much as I loved it. But we just get such random one-off items. We have Race Team Fillmore with headset, and none of the other items with headsets. None of the other... Yes, we have Cars 3 McQueen with headset, but we have none of the other Cars 2 pit crew. And that's just a little weird. We've got Raul Cerul here. Again, not much to say. Good to have the World Grand Prix back, but I would have preferred one that didn't get a GRC variant. Moving into Cars 3, I know a lot of people have been very upset with the treatment Cars 3 has gotten over the last few years. I have an interesting relationship with Cars 3 in the Diecast line, because when Cars 3 came out was when I started hardcore collecting. It's when I started this channel, so I own nearly every Cars 3 item. So for me, I don't really think, I don't really think much of the Cars 3 items. I don't think, it's not doing super well. But it has not been doing super well. And this year seems like we're taking some steps in the right direction for Cars 3. While I own, I'm pretty sure, all of these items, I can still easily say, hey, it's great to have this back. Obviously, we have regular Jackson Storm, but look, it's Ray Reverham. Hey, great to have this back. See, I told you I'd say that. Ray Reverham is such a good character to have out consistently. It's Jackson Storm's crew chief. And I think this is only his second release ever, right? Jackson Storm's Pity, Laura Spinwell has been out a couple times, but Ray, this is his first ever single, first release outside of a 2-pack, and it's just a very good, prominent character with a lot of lines in the movie who's just important to have in the toy line. A shame we don't have more Cars 3 pit crew members, but this is one of the most important ones to have. Then we have Jimmy Lugwrench. Random. Real random, but it is a pretty good re-release. He hasn't been out since his first release in 2021. Moving on to our next item here. We have Rusty's McQueen and Dynaco Cruz, both just typical generic Cars 3 items to get. Not much to say there. Fabulous McQueen, again, typical generic item to get, but a very important one, and one that means a lot for the franchise and its legacy, so it's great to have in the 20th anniversary year. Then we have Mater with 95 hat, who I don't believe we knew about before this poster came out. This is a weird one to bring back, but I am happy to see it. I am. I don't think it's been out since 2019, so it is a very, very good one to bring back. But as I've said before, Mater with 95 hat isn't in the movie. Mater has so many hats in Cars 3. And this one he never wears. This is the one he puts on the little fake Mater he makes in his junkyard. It would have been so nice to take this opportunity to get a new Mater with hat instead. But hey, I'll take a re-release of one. It's just a shame that it's not in the movie. We have Jonas Carvers. Good to see him back out as a single. Speedy Comet, of course, one of the most hotly anticipated re-releases of the year. For years, easily the most asked for thing in the whole toy line, in the fandom, has been to bring back the Cars 3 veterans. We got a new version of Cal Weathers last year, and now we officially have veterans back in the line. Or should I say veteran? Because Speedy Comet is the only one. Hopefully, this is a sign of things to come. I think the inclusion of Speedy shows that they're listening and they know that people want to see more veteran racers. This is a case where I do hope we get some more next year. It's kind of iffy, right? I say oftentimes, oh, maybe this will come out next year. I just said it with DD05 a little earlier. Sometimes that just doesn't happen. We got the Lemons back in 2022 after a ton of people asking. Or was it, sorry, it was 2023. And then in 2024, no lemons. And then in 2025, Greminacer. So you never know, but I do hope that the veterans come back. At the very least, give us regular Cal Bobby and Brick, I was going to say. And then I realized Brick's not too important, but give us Brick as well. We've got Richie Gunsit here. Noah Gokek is a good one to have back. I didn't realize that Noah and his corresponding tractor are out this year. That's really funny. But, just another one-off random item coming back. Should they have done a different tractor? Maybe, but it is nice to have a racer and their tractor variant out in the same year. That actually doesn't happen often. Then we have Morgan Martins, another new release for this year. Morgan, much like Flash and Memo, is a Super Chase re-release, kind of, because he is a new item this year. Last year for Race and Rescue, of course, we got a new downscaled Morgan Martins. This item is the downscaled Morgan Martins repainted to be regular Morgan. So is it a Super Chase re-release in concept, but not in execution, because it is a new downscaled Morgan, meaning it is a new item. That is our second new movie release for the year. Again, another downscaled one. Third, if you count Sarge as being different. We have Will Rush. Will Rush is my favorite next gen, one of my favorites, and his re-release recently came out. I saw some images of it yesterday, and he's actually a lighter purple now. And the grid lines on him are no longer as yellow. They're a bit closer to how they are in the prototype image. I'm a bit mixed on it because I love how Will Rush looks so much, and I'm concerned this new version of him might not be metallic. But the lighter purple coloring is a bit more film accurate. This might be a re-release I pick up just to compare it, and again, it is one of my favorite background racers. I don't know why this is here. Wait a minute, that's not Heyday Smokey. That's Hot Rod Smokey. I don't remember which of these is actually out. Oh man. I don't remember which of these is actually out, guys. I'm so sorry. Is it Hot Rod Smokey? I think it's Hot Rod Smokey, and they mislabeled him as Heyday Smokey. Either way, would have been nice to see regular Smokey instead, especially instead of Hot Rod Smokey, who's not even in the movie. We've got J.D. McPillar and Aaron Clocker. Aaron Clocker's a good one to have back. We've got Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet. Again, regular Doc isn't out this year, so we have this version of him instead, as well as an anniversary version we'll see later. I really wish they would just bring back the regular Hudson Hornet someday. We've had only this version for the last almost decade now. Yes, it's super similar, obviously, but, it would be really nice to have the non-dirt track one. Chris Roman is another one of this year's best re-releases, his first single since 2018. This is actually my favorite next gen. So, great to have him back. Barry D. Pedal. Not much to say. So, after that, yeah, pretty solid lineup for Cars 3. A lot of next gens. Actually, no Demolition Derby cars out this year. But I do think it's a step in the right direction for the Cars 3 lineup. I would love to see them do less racers from Cars 3 and focus on some of the background characters again. Obviously, there are a lot of new releases you could do from Cars 3 as well still. But when it comes to re-releases, I'd like to see, maybe some of the Thomasville or Thunder Hollow background characters come back into the line. But yeah, I think it's a pretty okay lineup. So now we're going to move on to Cars on the Road. Cryptid Buster McQueen. So now we're going to move on to Race and Rescue. Yes, guys, dead serious. We have one Cars on the Road item, okay? Look at this. Next. Race and Rescue. Next line. Remember when we were like, oh, there's too much Cars on the Road stuff. They need to do less Cars on the Road stuff. When I was saying that, I didn't mean this. Cars on the Road has become kind of awkward and forgotten, as have so many other Disney Plus shows. It just came and went, faded into obscurity, and, the merchandise must have really not sold, right? For us to only be getting one item total from it, less than 4 years after it came out. I think Cars on the Road should, in the future, be treated like the Cars tunes, where they only do a couple releases a year. But this is kind of extreme. We have this one single, and then there's a Cars on the Road 2-pack as well that we'll see in a little bit. This is kind of extreme, especially when there are still a lot of new things you could be making from Cars on the Road. I understand it's just for this year, but that's wild, honestly. I don't know where I stand on that. Cars on the Road, perhaps I treated you too harshly. I think there's still some great stuff that could come out from this show. I appreciate it not getting super heavy focus, but I think we could have gotten a little more. Alright. Up next, we have Race and Rescue, Red, Luigi and Guido, Sarge, Morgan Martins, McQueen, Cruz, Mater, Kathy Copter, Jackson Storm, and Chick Hicks. I went through these super fast because I really have very little to say about them. They were all out last year, and I'm really not the biggest fan of, the previous year's expanded universe line taking up so much space in the current years. Okay, because we have 10 cars on the road. We have 10 Race and Rescue items here. And that's a lot. That's a little more than half of the Race and Rescue lineup last year, which was 19. In the case of GRC, we saw the same thing. Every GRC car came back for 2025. And I was annoyed by it, but I ended up letting it slide because a lot of the GRC items were hard to get. In the case of Race and Rescue, that is good as well. Red, my Race and Rescue Red is the 2026 version. Luigi and Guido were hard to find. Some of the later ones, like Kathy Copter, I've barely seen. But I just don't think it's necessary, especially because we're getting those store-exclusive Race and Rescue repaints with accessories and the slightly different color schemes. So it's really useless to have, pick one or the other. Either bring it back in the main line and don't do those additional items, or just do those additional items and free up 10 slots in the main line that could have been used for new releases, movie re-releases, whatever else. So, yeah, I just don't think this is something they should be continuing, having the Expanding Universe line. If we're going to keep the Expanding Universe lines in the main line, let's not have them take up a bunch of space in the next year. That's easily my biggest problem with the lineup this year. Anyway, now we're getting into the exciting stuff. This is the lineup for Race to Celebrate. This is one of 2 anniversary lines that we're getting. It's the main anniversary line that we're getting in the main line this year, and we have a grand total of 6 singles, which isn't too much, but what we have is great. For those of you who don't know, this is, much like Race and Rescue, going to have a book tie-in. It is their in-universe celebration of 20 years of cars, and it's one of 2 anniversary lines that we're getting. Race to Celebrate focuses on Lightning McQueen Day, which is, of course, kind of a little holiday, fake holiday, that Disney celebrates every year, and Race to Celebrate is all about Lightning McQueen Day being a celebration in the Cars universe to, of course, celebrate 20 years of Cars in real life. So we have Race to Celebrate McQueen. It is so good to get a full look at all of these items. We've seen some leaks, we've seen some promo images, we also have seen the light-up cars, and we've seen mini racers, but to see the full regular diecasts, these look so good. Genuinely, I've praised these before, but wow. So, we have Race to Celebrate McQueen, and this is a McQueen's McQueen right here. It's using the Cars 2 mold, which is interesting for something anniversary themed, but again, it is in-universe, taking place after Cars 3. McQueen changes his body shape sometimes for stuff like the GRC, TROC, it's fine. But I really love the color scheme here. Of course, the running theme for these items are the lightning bolts, and also this very interesting sort of teal color, which I wonder if that's being done to sort of celebrate Mater's original color. But I really do love this design. We have LMQ on the hood with this lightning bolt, and the lightning bolt being made up of other lightning bolts is just so cool. I can't praise this item enough. The color scheme is absolutely beautiful. The celebration of McQueen is great. And the spoiler, dude, the spoiler has lightning bolts on it. It's a brand new spoiler. That is the coolest thing that they could have come up with for this McQueen. His spoiler is shaped like lightning bolts. Wow. Mater is an item I absolutely love. He's weird. He's a weird little Mater. But I love this so much. I talked about this before when the mini racer leaked, and then we saw a leak of the 155 scale one. For this crazy anniversary line, what a fun thing to do with Mater. Yes, of course, we have our more traditional metallic anniversary cars, but I love how fun Race to Celebrate is. It's just a celebration of these characters just having fun, and it's so nice to see. I'm so sorry, I went to plug in my laptop, but I just dropped something. I really, really, really like how this turned out. It's sort of a hot rod mater. It's a brand new mold, and the gold and the teal and everything comes together so well. I said it when the mini racers for these were announced, but these cars have so much personality and capture the personalities of the characters themselves super well. This feels like Mater if Mater wanted to redo himself to celebrate his best friend. Of course he would go crazy like this. Up next we have an item we haven't seen before. It's Ramon! I'm so happy! Ramon, of course, was not in Race and Rescue, but man, he looks so good. This is just living proof that the gold and teal color scheme is absolutely beautiful. I complained so many times. I talked a whole lot last year about how I thought the color scheme for the rally race cars was really weak with the navy blue and gray. I talked constantly about how I thought those were really bad highlight colors that didn't work well. This is incredible. Look at this. I hope he's kind of shiny, but yeah, this is good. This is going to sound out there, but I kind of wish he also got a spoiler. I love Ramon. I love getting a new Ramon. What a fantastic item. And then we have Boost. This is a real weird one to get, but this looks sick. This is like a hardcore Boost. I really like the tuners being involved in this line. It'll be weird to see how they're incorporated in the story if they make it in at all, considering a lot of the items in the Race and Rescue book and the toy line didn't match. But the tuners, super popular characters, and so I am happy to see them get included. Super popular characters from the first movie. So really great to see them in this anniversary line. Boost looks awesome. This might be the best Boost of all time, honestly. I love that his gold is a bit more dark and metallic. The lightning bolt works super well. Even the LMQ logo on the hood, which may look a little off, looks great. This is a really good year for new releases. All of these anniversary items, they went so hard. This is fantastic. Like, I cannot wait to see this. This is so cool. And again, the spoiler, oh my gosh. Sally, I know I've been heaping a lot of praise on these. Sally is easily my least favorite. I talked about her a couple weeks ago because we saw an image of her in box in my video I just mentioned earlier where I talk about the F1 cars. She's okay. I wish they did a little more. Again, all the other characters have a lot more personality, but as I was saying, you know, it feels like the personality of these characters for Maters to be big and bombastic, for Boosts to be kind of slick and cool and super turbocharged, and it makes sense for Sally's to be a little more subdued. I wish she had a lightning bolt on her. She's missing the lightning bolt design. This is her celebrating her partner of 20 years now, which is crazy. So it would be nice if they just went a little more all out for Sally. Maybe have her spoiler raised up too, use a Sally design, like the Sally with tattoo mold. But yeah, Sally's okay. It looks a little too similar to other Sallys we've gotten, I think, in a line where everyone looks so unique and so different. And then we have Fillmore here, our final of these singles. And we saw his mini racer before, but I think he looks very good as well. He does look a little strange here. I've just now realized that they decided to fully make Fillmore the teal color, the Race to Celebrate teal. I think the windows look a bit odd, but Fillmore is one of my favorite characters, so to have a variant of him is really nice. I do feel like he feels a little too blank. I wish they did a little more here, maybe a bit more on the roof. But again, personality, right? He has stars shooting out of the lightning bolts. I think it works really well. So it is unfortunate that a line this good only has 6 releases. You know, we had 19 for Race and Rescue and 10 for the GRC. So it really is a shame, I think, that they didn't do more of these. This is an expanded universe line that I would gladly have no complaints with seeing more of, because they went all out and they're incredible anniversary items. But we do have one more in the 2-packs. And we also have the Light Up line, which I'm going to be doing a full separate video on soon, since they also got revealed in package while I was on break for Guest Host Week. We've got a line of Light Up cars, which they're really promoting this year, that are going to have working lights, button activated, super cool, and that line, unfortunately, is plastic, but the cars look fantastic, that rhymed, and That line gives us light-up versions of McQueen, Mater, Sally, and also Wingo, Snotrod, and DJ. So we get a full set of the tuners. We're also getting some color changers based on this line. I know there's a Snotrod coming and a Mater. So if you were concerned about the lack of tuners, we are going to be getting them in the light-up line. So yeah, that, we have very few new singles here. And while I could use that to be all doom and gloom, oh, this is the downfall, this is the death of the line, a lot of the items we're getting this year are going to be store exclusives or light up or other things. Up next, we have our typical anniversary promo. This has such thick text. This is labeled as Golden Promo. This, of course, is based on the metallic McQueen that we'll be getting in the 5-pack, but it's fully gold instead of red with gold highlights. We'll have to see how this promo is done. So like I've been saying several times, for those of you who don't know, in addition to Race to Celebrate, we also have a line of metallic 20th anniversary items, including this promo McQueen, a 2-pack we'll take a look at in a little bit, and 2 different 5-packs. We have a 5-pack that I covered in a previous video with special metallic anniversary versions of McQueen, Mater, Sally, Ramon, and Fillmore, and while I was on break, and Sarge, and while I was on break, it was announced that we have a separate 5-pack of those 4 cars plus Fillmore. A little scummy? Yeah. Wish they would have taken that opportunity to do a little more? Yeah, but like I said earlier, 5-packs these days are sort of an extension of the regular line. So we have an additional 6 metallic anniversary cars coming out, and they're your more traditional ones. They're kind of like the D100s or the Racing Reds. Again, check out my video on those, and I'll be doing another video talking about the light-up cars, the Fillmore version of the 5-pack. So if you're seeing this and you're sad that there aren't as many items as you'd like there to be, just remember we have 6 anniversary light-up cars, 6 more cars coming out in 5-packs, and also we have a lot of other stuff. There's so much this year outside of the main line, really. And I'll talk about that after I go over the rest of the poster. But yeah, don't see this to be, oh, there's so little, because there is a lot more out there. We get into the 2-packs now. From Cars 1, Mater and Tractor with Tire in Mouth. That's already out. Nice re-release there. Roger Wheeler and the King. Would have been nice if they included the Pity instead, Luke Pedalwork, because the King is already out as a single. But I'm very happy to see them remember Roger Wheeler's name, which they gave him the last time he was out. Hasn't been out since 2018, so it's a great item to have back. Bling Bling McQueen and Tex Dynaco is a returning 2-pack from last year. Should have been Dynaco McQueen. Buzz Lightyear and Woody, easily one of the best items coming back this year. I was really hoping that we would see more of the Pixar parody cars, but it's good to have this. Also, as much as I don't want to acknowledge it, there is a Toy Story movie coming out this year, so it's some fun brand synergy. I'm going to be very interested to see how they look. This is one of the best re-releases of the year, I think. Then we have Red and Guido. Red is downscaled. I reported on this in a previous video. Red is a repaint of the sort of middle scale Race and Rescue Red. Bigger than the 2006 Red, smaller than the Deluxe Red. And they crammed him in with Guido, which is kind of scummy because Guido usually counts as half of a car. When this was announced, I was hoping it would be Deluxe Red. So you get Deluxe Red, and then you have Guido, who's small. But no, it's the red that could fit as a single, and then just Guido. They really should have also packed Luigi, or just packed a different character. Could have done the Stanley statue again. Regardless, this is now new movie release number 3 for the year. Another downscaled item, but still new movie release nonetheless. And then, unfortunately, no Cars 2 2-packs, but we do have the item which is one of the best of the year. We have Headset, Crew Chief McQueen, and Rusty's Cruise. I fully covered this in a video a couple weeks ago now. This is our one new item from the movies for the year, and it's an absolutely incredible one we've all been asking for since 2017. Again, it's items like this that makes you remember, even when the line is in kind of an awkward spot, really they do care, and that's a really great thing to get. Jim Reverick and Spiky Phillips. I don't have much to say with next gen re-releases typically, but it is good to see Jim again. And this is going to go down in history as one of the craziest errors Mattel has ever made. This is Pat Traxon and Jeff Gorvette. Obviously, people thought it would be Cars 3 Jeff Gorvette, because this is the Cars 3 pace car. Then it came out that this 2-pack includes Pat Traxon, the Cars 3, the Cars 3 pace car, Cars 2 Jeff Gorvette, and the back of the box says, as seen in Cars. I've avoided talking about this because it's just so insane, I don't even know what to say. But it's a really funny error, multiple errors, and I do appreciate them putting it correctly in the Cars 3 section here, even if it is the wrong Jeff. Sometimes we'll see them fix little errors like this while putting together the poster, so that's nice. And this gives me hope that maybe they'll fix Jeff and have it be Cars 3 Jeff. Maybe, I hope, I wish. And then we have another item that we didn't know about. And this is a 2-pack of Maddie McGear and Rusty's McQueen. Maddie McGear, I don't know why she's back. This is an item that's out way too often in my opinion, but it's fine. I would have preferred something else. I'm a little confused by McQueen here, because it does say Rusty's McQueen, but the image is Cars 3 McQueen, and Rusty's McQueen is out as a single, as we saw earlier, and he uses his correct image, so we'll have to wait and see what they do for that. And then our other Cars on the Road item, McQueen as Deputy Hazard, and Bella Cadaver, who I'm happy to see back. I actually found this 2-pack. This 2-pack was super rare when it came out in 2023. So of all the Cars on the Road items to re-release in a year with very few, this is a great one to do. I actually ended up finding it last year, and it's sitting in my pile of items to review, and now it's back. So yeah, really great Cars on the Road item to bring back. And now, it's just the Race and Rescue 2-packs. We could skip those. We don't need them in a year where we have, again, the singles. But now we have some Race to Celebrate 2-packs with McQueen and Mater. Great to have the two of them together. Would I have preferred they include new items instead? Yeah, the Race and Rescue 2-packs were great, okay? We had 6 Race and Rescue cars in 2-packs, and 4 of those were exclusive. McQueen and Mater together is a good option. Obviously, it's great for the anniversary, but I would have liked something else. The other 2-pack, though, much better with Ramon, and our final Race to Celebrate item, it's Flo! Flo gets new variants so infrequently. I'm always so happy to see them show Flo some love. She's gotten an Easter variant, a D100, and now she has a Race to Celebrate. Oh, I'm so happy that with the metallic anniversary items means nearly every Radiator Springs car got an anniversary variant. Not Luigi and Guido, Red, or Lizzie, but those characters rarely get special variants like this. And our final item is a very cool and very special one. This is the only metallic anniversary item outside of the 5-packs and the mail-away. So very interesting it's on here, but it's 20th anniversary McQueen and Doc Hudson. This McQueen is the exact same as the one that's going to be out in the 5-packs, but Doc is such a great choice here. Doc is not in either of the anniversary 5-packs. Again, you have McQueen, Mater, Ramon, Sally, and then either Sarge or Fillmore in those 2 different 5-packs. Having Doc here is really great. The 2 of these in a 2-pack, it feels truly special. It feels like a great way to honor the character of Doc, to honor the legacy of the franchise. This is a really great and really special item that I'm so happy they did. And I also love the attention to detail to have a 20th anniversary metallic Doc instead of a Race to Celebrate Doc, since Race to Celebrate is going to take place after Cars 3. So it's really nice of them to ensure that Doc still has an anniversary variant here. And this is going to be the first ever metallic Doc, which is crazy. We got Disney 100 Doc a few years ago, which was the first silver Doc. Yeah, this is the first ever metallic Doc. And that, guys, is the end of the list, as you can see here. And I think altogether, honestly, that's a pretty solid year. Is it perfect? No. Are there things I wish they were doing that they aren't? Yes. But the anniversary items are so good, and there's a lot of great stuff coming outside of the main line. The anniversary 5-packs. We're getting anniversary mini racers. Obviously, that's a different toy line, but still, we're getting anniversary color changers. We're getting the anniversary Race to Celebrate light-up cars. We're getting great items in the NASCAR line for the first time in a while with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And we're also getting, allegedly, a Formula One collab. And also, we're getting those weird recolor Race and Rescue items. There's a lot going on right now. This might be the first year in history where what's happening outside of the main line is more interesting than the main line itself. But I think it's going to come together to make 2026 genuinely a very solid year and a very solid anniversary year. Even though the Cars Diecast line isn't where a lot of us want it to be right now, I'm so glad that they made a point to celebrate the anniversary of the series so well. I'm really happy with what we're seeing with the anniversary. The items from the movies, I'm happy to see some more balance, a bit more balanced lineup. But altogether, I think it's a pretty alright year. Better than 2025. Not sure if it's better than 2024, but I'd say it probably is. 2024 had some really weak re-releases. I'm happy with what they're doing here for an anniversary year. Of course, you have to set aside, less cars than usual, deluxes. For where we are in the toy line right now, I'm happy with what they've done. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and of course, be respectful of each other's opinions. There's going to be a lot of discussion going on about this. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.